This video demonstrates the iPad math application TechDraw. This is the opening screen. If we touch Menu and then New Drawing, it brings up my Blackboard area and a toolbar along the bottom. The toolbar is divided into two main sections. The top row is different drawing and math shapes, and the bottom row are tools that I can operate on those shapes with. So if we pick as an example, first of all, let me show you this one here. This is the grid tool. And this allows me to operate a grid on the screen, similar to graph paper, which can make it easier for placing shapes. Let's click on the rectangle, and then wherever I place my finger, there'll be a rectangle centered at that point. And then when I have the rectangle, I can move it by putting my finger in the middle of the shape, or rotate it by putting my finger towards the edge of the shape. And I can resize it by using two fingers and resize it either in the X or the Y directions. There are other shapes available too. An ellipse, let me move this out of the way, an ellipse shape here, a line shape, and then perhaps more interesting is the polygon. Let me clear some space here. This allows me to delete any of the shapes. The polygon shape allows me to draw any n-sided polygon which closes. So when I first put my finger on the screen, I get a crosshairs that allows me to position the initial vertex. Then when I release it, it changes to a crosshairs. I can move it and draw the first side, the second side, another side, and then I can close it by moving close to the final first point, and it closes and gives me a polygon. And this I can then move around or rotate or resize just as any of the other shapes. There's also an arc tool and a shape tool that allow me to do portions of a circle or an arbitrary curve. This is an interesting one, which is the text tool, so let me get this out of the way. And the text tool brings up a keyboard which essentially has four keyboards in one. There's a full Latin character set which can be adorned either with bold, italic, underline, upper and lower case, and also superscript and subscript. A number keypad together with a variety of other shapes, mathematical symbols, a mathematical symbol keyboard that gives me some very complex ones beyond the realm of a middle school, but I can do integrals, partial differentials, and also a symbol for infinity and so on. And then there's a full Greek character set which also can be upper and lower case as well, and I can mix these on the fly. So for example, I can put in some Latin characters and then immediately switch to Greek, or I can switch to numbers or any of the other symbols. So this gives me a very complex, essentially equation creation and editing tool to add to the Blackboard as well. And then tapping anywhere just removes that keyboard. So let me move that out of the way as well. There's also an image tool that allows me to import an image from anywhere on the web and build that into what I'm doing as part of setting my problems as well. This is a layer tool and allows me to create different layers within the document so that I can put certainly text or shapes, for example, at one layer and then overlay on top of others different shapes. There's also a snap to grid tool here which allows me to place the rectangle, but it will snap to the lowest division of the grid, and so it does help in placing the shapes as well if I use the snap to grid tool, particularly if I want to line up shapes with one another. We've also already sorry, let me get rid of this and that. This allows me to use a fill color. So for example, I can select any of the fill colors here. These colors are the primary ones, and then I can set the alpha by moving along here, or I can use one of these shadings instead. This is a line tool that allows me to set the thickness of the line around the shape, or I can also set the colour in a similar way to the fill tool. And then the font tool, let me get this out of the way first. The font tool allows me to adorn text, so if I type in some text first of all, and then use the font tool, I can change the size of the font and also change the colour of the font. What I wanted to show you as well was some of the screenshots. So I have used this, for example, to display some examples that might be used for middle school geometry. In this case it will be a problem set by the teacher, and having to solve or find the angle theta in each of these examples. There's also one I have here for circles that allows you to use the tool to set a problem involving circles. There is a complete user manual also within the document that allows you to, first of all, drawing tips, and then explaining each of the menu sections, and then complete explanation of each of the shapes and text, and then an explanation of all of the tools. Any of these documents that are created can be backed up to Evernote. In fact, the intent is that the teacher would set the problems initially in a shared folder on Evernote, and the students would then download them to individual iPads and then upload their answers or solutions back into the Evernote folder. They can also be distributed by email as well. There's also a provision for the students to essentially take a snapshot of the screen and post an image to any of their favourite social media sites like Facebook or Twitter. So that's a brief explanation of how TechDraw works. There is a complete user manual in there, and I'd encourage you to also download the program and try it for yourself.